Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Kari and today I am going to be doing the most thought-provoking books of 2020. Whew. Alright, I only have 2 of these physically, so the rest will probably most likely be pictures around my head. But let's get into it. So the first one was The Year of Less by Kate somebody. I'll, like I said, pop up a picture. This one is about a woman in her late 20s. It's a nonfiction, autobiographical, who was in a lot of debt and how she got out of debt by limiting what she could buy, how she could buy, that kind of stuff. She also got rid of a whole slew of possessions. I appreciate the getting rid of part. As far as books go, I'm one of those people who abhor Marie Kondo almost entirely because she says 30 books or less, and clearly that's not gonna work for me. However, this book, The Year of Less, was actually really excellent, and it made me think about how I'm spending my money, why I'm spending my money, and what I can better spend it on. So I loved it, and it is still always in the back of my head. It's part of why I've gone on a book buying ban this year. We'll see how it goes. So far it's not horrible, but I did buy a lot of books in January because pre-orders. Oops. But that one. Next we have Such a Fun Age by Kari-ng. This is a fictional book that starts with a black woman who's a nanny to a white family. And one night, about midnight-ish, the parents call her and ask, hey, can you take our kid, just take her to the grocery store, she needs to get out of the house for a little bit, we're having some issues. I want to say it's something to do with the younger sibling. It's either medical or police, and I don't remember which one at this point, but that's not really pertinent. So, main character takes the little girl to the grocery store where she is confronted by an employee asking her if she has kidnapped this child. Things blow up from there, and it's basically the microaggressions of white people and trying to, I don't know if it's be a white savior or just trying to, you know, overly make things right, which in my head is a very fine line. Whether or not I can articulate that is a whole different thing. They might be the same thing, and I'll let you know if I ever figure that out. But it's that, and our main character basically just saying, hey, calm down, we're fine, shut up and go away. More or less, in politer terms. It was phenomenal, and it definitely made you think about, as a white person, clearly, my own actions and things that I say on a regular basis, how those could be taken, how they shouldn't be taken, or, well, how they affect the people around me and what I should and shouldn't say because of that. So this was a really excellent book, and one of these days I will own a physical copy of it. The last one that I don't own is Feasting Wild by Rina de la Cerva, I think. This book was one of the ones I annotated for Christmas, and it was the one for my sister. So my sister's vegan. She's a baking channel, Messy Vegan Baker, linked down below as always. And I thought she would find it really fascinating to read a book about how we went from hunting and gathering being the norm to hunted and gathered foods being some of the most expensive. You know, you can buy farm-raised beef for cheap. Here in the States, it's generally between $3 and $4 a pound. But if you want to buy black truffles or something like that, it's super expensive. So I thought that was really fascinating, and I loved how she looked at food and the historical tidbits she included and stuff like that. Next is Factfulness by Hans Rosling. This is a book about trends that actually make the world look better than they are. And this one was sort of pushed on me by my sister I mean, I'm not exactly going to complain about having a book shoved at me, so there's that. But it is absolutely one of her favorites. We did a video over Christmas where we talk about books we made each other read, and this one's on it, so I'll link that one down below as well if you want to check it out. But my biggest complaint about this one was that he was a white Swedish man and didn't really address how colonialism, imperialism, racism affected any of these trends. He talks about the trends and that they go up and down, and that they've been going down steadily, and why that's a good thing, and why our assumptions are wrong, and why we do worse than a chimp on multiple choice tests as far as what we think of these trends. I do still wish, because I mean it's a short book, it's less than 300 pages, so it could have been, you know, a 400 or 500 page book and included the impacts of racism, colonialism, and I think that would have made it better. I will say he does talk a little bit about sexism, and he does acknowledge white privilege and that he has it and that affects his viewpoint, but he doesn't articulate how or really examine the effects on the book. But it definitely is a thought-provoking book and changes how you view the world and makes you realize what we see in the news and what we see on a day-to-day basis are only part of the picture. And the last one is An Unkindness of Ghost by Ghosts by Rivers Solomon. This is a science fiction about a girl named Aster, and they are on a spaceship which is organized much like the antebellum South. They're headed somewhere. She's not really sure where. Pretty much nobody is. But I think it was a really fun, I don't know if that's the right word. It was a deep dive into essentially racism and society and expectations in a different setting that was still recognizable to us. I loved it. Like I said, definitely very thought-provoking, because I mean, by definition, it makes you think, but as you go through it, you see these little bits and pieces that are taken from US history, and looking at that and looking at how the author has depicted that as still a thing on a spaceship. I mean, obviously it's futuristic. Personally, it was concerning, because if we have spaceships that are actually taking people and supporting people for generations in space, shouldn't we have fixed that by now? I mean, to be fair, we should have fixed it by 2021, but here we are. So there's also that component. But it was really excellent. All of these books definitely make you think, and they definitely tweak your worldview, which I loved. So, that's the thought-provoking books of 2020. I'm sure there are more, but those are the ones that popped out at me when I was going through my story graph. So, I will leave you with those, and if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, leave them down in the comments below. I will see you in my next video. Bye.